welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Ahmadzai, and I am a clairvoyant success coach for high-performing females, entrepreneurs, and professionals all around the world. And I also have a chronic illness called fibromyalgia. And so today's video, I'm going to specifically be referring to what does it feel like to have fibro? And I will say I am not a doctor. Please seek professional help and guidance and consultation. This video specifically is simply a resource to support you if you have a chronic illness, and especially if you're an entrepreneur. I will have this entire series that is how do I balance having fibro and being a busy mom, a devoted wife, and a very successful and driven entrepreneur, because it's a lot. Can we just be honest about it? When you have deep fibro symptoms, it can be debilitating in all areas of your life, and it's unseen. We look fine on the outside, but on the inside, it hurts and it can be really, really painful. So first of all, I want to say, if you have fibro, if you have a chronic illness, I'm here for you. We're in it together. And I do believe that our body can heal. And I also believe that with knowledge comes power. And so let's dive in and I'll share, what does it feel like for me when I have fibro? And let me know what your thoughts are, what your experiences are in the comments, because I would love to connect and grow and heal together. So symptom number one is the severe muscle and joint pain. Oh my gosh, it's unlike anything else. It is widespread pain throughout the body. If you can envision, or if you've ever been punched in the arm, or if you've hit something really hard, or if you've even fallen, you know that muscle pain, say you're punched in the arm and afterwards it's like, ow, that still burns. That's what it feels like all throughout the body. So I will really get this deep muscle and joint pain in my wrist, my fingers, my elbows, my knees, my hips, my feet, and also around my ankle, but especially my knees. I know I said that, but it'll feel really, really deep and painful in my glutes, and I'll even feel it up and down my quads as well. And it's something that even if you're massaging it, it will help, but it still hurts and it throbs. And it goes from one side to the other, to here, to there, bing, 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 it's everywhere. Yes, that deep muscle and joint pain. And the best way I can describe it is like being punched. Also, sometimes it'll feel like a sprain. If you've ever sprained your hip, or if you've sprained your finger, that like tweak that you feel if you hit it wrong, that's how my fingers will feel sometimes. Or also my feet, it'll be a sharper pain rather than the dull throbbing. So that is a huge characteristic of fibromyalgia. It's number one. Number two is the fibro fog, which it's like a brain fog, but 10 times more than what I've ever experienced. It feels as if you're really, really tired and you haven't gotten sleep, but you have, because that's another symptom. But when you haven't gotten sleep and you're trying to function or look at something and everything's just blurry, or it will feel like if you have a cold and your body is feeling exhausted, but your brain wants to work, and you're active and you have the energy, but you just can't do the deep thinking. For example, you could do laundry or you could clean the house, but it's very difficult for you to create content or to do a Facebook Live video because it's just kind of foggy. That's the fibro fog. And with this fibro fog, I'm currently on the tail end of my fibro flare up right now, but you may notice I slur a little bit. I might have a glitchier pace. And that's part of the damn fibro fog, because if you watch any of my other videos, I am on it. My energy is there. Like I know, bing, 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 what to say, what to do. When we're in the state of the fibro fog, it's like this bluntness, and I can see and think and do, but it's just not as clear. And it's very difficult to create courses or content, whatever that is. Another huge symptom of fibromyalgia that I experience is fatigue. Fatigue that is so debilitating. I am not even able to drive a car, like a vehicle. It is not safe for me to drive because I get so tired and exhausted. And it's almost as if a wet towel is just placed over my body. And I'll usually wake up, and within 2 hours, I'll be good during that time. I won't have pain. I'll feel great because I just slept 10 hours. I'll feel amazing, drop my daughter off to school, get my puppy at a doggy daycare. And then when I come home, usually like 2 hours after I wake up, then everything hits. And it feels like it's difficult to keep my head up, and my eyelids. It's the craziest thing. It can feel really difficult to keep them awake and to keep them open. And it can get to the point where even if I lay down, it's challenging for me to even sit up. And that's where it gets really scary. And that's when I'm in the thick of a fibro flare. You kind of feel like a corpse a little bit. And so the fatigue is extremely debilitating. Again, I'll get 10 hours of sleep, I'll get 12 hours of sleep, and then have to take at least one 45-minute nap during the day to give me that boost to get to the next nap or to get to bed. A story here that I will share that combines not only the fibro fog, but the muscle and the joint pain and the fatigue. Just the other day, I was feeling pain in my hands and in my joints. Is really on this left side here. And it got to the point where my left side was just dead. Like, I don't want to speak that into existence, but that's how it felt. And I wasn't able to lift my arm up past here. And I was trying to eat dinner. My husband is so amazing. He made it for me, but I wasn't able to. I could eat with my right hand, thank goodness, but I couldn't lift up my hand. It wasn't just pain and throbbing, it was weakness. So that's another symptom that I experience, is the fatigue and the muscle pain make me feel very weak and lethargic and brittle. That's another story. Is the first time I had a huge fibro flare, I took a nap and I woke up with a sprained hip. I don't know what this is, but it feels like my whole body just gives out during this time. And it took me 3 or 4 chiropractic appointments, and it was 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks for me to get my gait back because I slept on my hip wrong. But it only happened during that fibro flare up. So I don't understand what it is. The doctors don't understand what it is, but I feel so weak and frail and brittle to the point where I can't even lift up my arm. It's very, very scary. Another story to paint this picture here, again, was my recent flare up. And I was sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor with my daughter, and we have this little coffee table, and we were coloring together. So I had a red pen in my colored pencil in my hand. And as I was coloring, I realized that I couldn't squeeze my fingers. Like, I didn't have the strength, very similar to like my arm, where I'm like, I just can't. I couldn't make my head tell my hand to move. And I couldn't squeeze the pencil. I could hold it, but it was almost as if I was coloring, it would just fall out of my hand. And I was like, brain, squeeze the pencil. And I couldn't. And so I set it down, and I was like, something is very wrong. And then I tried to get up. And now I was previously sitting crisscross, right? I go to stand up, and that wet towel of physical fatigue just took over, and my legs were so weak, I could barely walk. Now, I am not exaggerating at all when I say this. I do believe with every breath that I take, my body is healing, and I am not one to make up any, like, to get drama or stories or whatever it is. But I will say this is one of the scariest times that I have experienced, because when I tried to walk, it was like my legs felt like my arm, like they were dead. They just felt like they had nothing left in them. So I stood up and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like my legs are going to turn to goo or to like jello, and I'll fall to the ground. So I leaned on the couch to help me stand up. And then I had to hold on to the couch until I got to the wall. And then I was like, I can't walk. I cannot walk right now. So I sat down and massaged my legs, and they were throbbing. I mean, I had CBD on them. I had magnesium. I had everything that I could. I had heating not heating pads, but like a heating blanket to get this better. And so eventually I was able to walk. I just felt a little nervous because it felt like I would just turn into a puddle of goo on the ground at any time. And that was the worst that I've ever had, not having really function in my hands and not being able to walk. And so luckily, the one that I'm going in right now on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's like a 7 or an 8. So I haven't had that. But another symptom is we have the fatigue, we have the joint pain, the fibro fog, feeling really weak and kind of unable to walk. Another story on that, my husband, he was just joking with me, took his hands like on my shoulders like this, and he like went like this to, I don't remember what he was doing. He was joking, and my shoulder went and it made a snapping sound. Now I'm fine. It didn't crack anything, but it felt like it did. And that feeling of being weak and brittle and tiny is another symptom that I experience whenever I go through fibro. I'm like, my 6-year-old wants to run up and give me a hug after school. And I'm like, honey, you have to be very calm with, like, careful with mommy, because I don't have the reaction time. And I just feel like I could break or snap at any moment. And it's pretty crazy because as I'm talking about this, I'm like, it sounds like I'm kind of dramatic, but I'm not. I am so not. And if you have fibromyalgia, you know that this is real and this is what it can feel like. Another thing is feeling cold. I tend to feel cold a lot anyways, but like right now, my family calls me Elsa because my fingertips are ice. My nose will be ice. There's something with the circulatory system that happens as well. So that's quite a bit. And I hope that this video is helping you feel supported and validated if you are experiencing similar symptoms. And also feel free to show this to a loved one if you have fibro and maybe they don't fully understand what does it feel like? You look fine on the outside. How bad could it be? Feel free to share this video with them because it is something that I have felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed, especially because I am so healthy and I take care of my body and I do my energy work. How could this happen? It doesn't make sense. And so stay tuned for a video to follow that is how our partners and our friends can help and support us through a fibro flare-up. So with that, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you resonated, if you've experienced similar things, or maybe your symptoms are a little bit different. But I wish you an amazing day full of amazing things, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye, everyone.